Innsbruck Calling Teil 2 dieser Austrian Climbing Summer Series. Letzte Woche ja das erste Boulder-Finale und Speed-Finale, wo wir einen österreichischen Rekord gesehen haben bei den Damen. Schauen wir gleich drauf und jetzt Teil 2. Bevor wir aber am Bewerbsfelsen wieder loslegen, schauen wir noch hinaus, weil außerhalb dieses Kletterzentrums, da ist ja momentan das Paradies offen, um Tirol kletternd zu erleben. Und da gibt es in den Lienzer Dolomiten eine Route, die dieses Paradies gleich im Titel trägt. Eine Neuvorstellung bei unseren Great Lines.
Das Wandel da hinten, das hat mir jetzt nicht so
The
gedacht.
wall back there didn't look so good over there. Maybe it is better further down, like they said. Let's see what the rock is like.
Looks pretty old.
There's a bit of loose material in there.
We
We will have to clear some of that away, but the approach is great.
Der Schweiger Markus.
My name is Markus Zweiger, and I am responsible for sport climbing at the Austrian Alpine Club. Unfortunately, we don't often have the chance to go to the climbing areas and try out the routes ourselves. Most of our work is in the office. My area of expertise is sport climbing. That is the area which I am responsible for. When people set up new climbing areas, we help them. Also with things like repairing old routes, signposting, etc. Lots of climbing areas used to be overgrown. Now climbing is booming and more people are taking up the sport, so the climbing areas are busier. You have to come to an agreement with the landowner. That is where the Austrian Alpine Club can help. We run at least around 100 climbing areas in Austria. A really cool climb. Long, challenging, great rock and top views in the background. That was a cool job. It couldn't have been any better.
Hat uns viel Überwindung gekostet, die Anna von dort rauszuholen, hier hereinzubringen. Aber Anna, wir haben es geschafft. Schön, dass du da bist. Bevor du jetzt in den englischen Fachkommentar gehst, letzte Woche, wenn wir kurz Replik nehmen, war irgendwie das Thema Nervosität ein großes. Was hast du als Thema des heutigen Tages schon ausgemacht?
Ja, das könnte vielleicht wieder das Gleiche sein. Wir haben bei den Herren auch gesehen, dass die Nervosität in der Platte sehr hoch war. Ich bin gespannt, wie die Damenplatte heute ausschaut. Und außerdem wird es interessant, ob die Petra Klingler, die Johanna Färber und die Jessie Pilz ihrer Favoritenrolle gerecht werden und ins Finale einziehen können.
Jo Färber, die hat letzte Woche gewonnen, ist jetzt in der Qualifikation, wie du gesagt hast, gemeinsam mit Petra Klingler, Exequo auf 1. Dass es jemanden so konstant schon läuft, hast du sie so stark eingeschätzt?
Ja, die Johanna ist auf jeden Fall sehr stark einzuschätzen. Eine der Damen, die am meisten Weltcup-Erfahrung auch hat, natürlich neben Petra und Jessie. Was interessant sein wird, ist, wie es der Eva heute geht. Sie hat letztes Mal den 2. Platz erreicht, ist jetzt auf dem etwas abgeschlagenen 10. Und jetzt schauen wir mal, wie sie mit dieser neuen Favoritenrolle umgehen kann. Die anderen 3 sind es ja schon gewohnt.
Eva Maria Hammemüller, schauen wir gleich drauf, aber davor noch die Bilder der letzten Woche, nämlich jene der Mädels. Die 4 Boulder-Probleme fürs Semifinale sind bereit. 6 Spots gibt es zu vergeben. Wir starten rein.
afternoon and welcome back to Innsbruck. It was the men's semi-final this morning. This afternoon it is the women, Charlie Bosco and Anna Sturr, here to talk you through it on this part 2 of the Austrian Climbing Summer Series. We had part 1 last week, last Thursday, all 4 replays available on YouTube for that. And today it's part 2, women's semi-final. First climber already on the mat, Stephanie Leitner of Vienna. And as with the men this morning, they are going from right to left. So they start with the slab on the right-hand side of this competition wall and then head out left as the round progresses. We didn't see anyone get all 4 tops over on the men's side this morning. Nobody got to the top of boulder number 4, and talking to the route setters, and if you watched our coverage earlier on, the route setters reckon nobody found quite the correct method. Let's hope the women figure out the 4 boulders that have been set for them and we see all boulders topped. But it'll be a while until we see the other 3, excuse me. For now, we concentrate on number 1, and Stephanie first out, qualified in 20th place, hence climbs first in the semi-final. Tricky start here for the women, really technical. You can see on camera, which isn't always the case, but the dual texture holds. You can see which bit is useful and which bit isn't. And all the bits you want to be useful aren't, and vice versa.
Yeah, they look like a mirror almost.
They are particularly shiny.
Yeah, which is good, because this way we can actually see that you cannot stand on these double texture volumes. You can only stand on the right screw hold, the black one, that Stephanie will be brushing in a second. Stephanie is 17 years young, from Vienna, and she's part of the Austrian youth climbing team. She has started at several European Youth Cups and placed second at the European Youth Cup in Delft in bouldering in 2018, and has a 4th place at the European Youth Cup in Graz in bouldering last year. She did not qualify for the semi-final round at the first part of the Austrian Climbing Summer Series last week, so she'll be pleased to climb in semis today.
She wasn't far off on that attempt as well.
No, she was actually quite close already. And
it seems had the method right. We've been told that you have to go quickly to that last hold.
Yeah, the one she's brushing right now, you got to go quickly into a 2-shoulder move, kind of.
Definitely potential for actually clearing the mats and landing in the long jump pit. We're in an athletics hall.
Yeah, that's right.
Just behind that black curtain is the landing pit for the long jump. So if you really fluff the move and you really go too far and you go beyond the curtain, don't worry, it's still a soft landing. But she wasn't far off them.
No, she has 1 minute 45 seconds left to go, which will give her a good 2 more attempts. Come on, Stephanie.
Quite tough competition in the women's qualifying yesterday, actually. Some of the better-known Austrian climbers not through to the semi-final. Laura Stöckler, Hannah Schubert. So good job from Stephanie just to even reach this stage.
Yeah, definitely. It was heartbreaking for Laura and Hannah. I'm sure they're watching right now. And Stephanie is giving the holds a good brush. That's always really important.
You train here at the Kletterzentrum on holds like this. Just explain to people at home, the shiny bit is completely useless. You can't get anything out of it.
Yeah, correct. The shiny bit is completely useless. There's no friction at all. You can't really place your foot on it either. You would slide off immediately. So there's only one part where you can actually hold the holds or stand on these holds, and that makes it particularly tricky for these climbers here.
So she's already been up towards the last move, Stephanie, just peeling off, and with 23 seconds to go, I think that will be that. Yeah, and as we mentioned in every broadcast, in the Corona times, the climbers take their own brush off. Brushes have been furloughed in the climbing world.
Yeah, everyone has his or her own brush. They get disinfected after their round and handed to the next climber. Another thing is that there are no spectators at all. So Charlie and I are looking at an empty hall. There are some chairs. They are all socially distanced, a good 2 meters away from each other. and
it's very quiet in here. If someone goes for a pee, then 5% of the audience disappears.
Although we do have a speaker and music, which makes it quite comp-like. The atmosphere is very comp style, and especially if you watch the screen, you can't see any difference. But when you're here in the hall, you can feel the difference, of course. Usually in Innsbruck, there's a huge crowd, and yeah, of course, the crowd also supports the climbers. But now they have to deal with a different situation.
Emma Tabernig now of Vorarlberg, out on the mats.
She's only 15 years old, so a very young and up-and-coming talent from Bludenz. She lives in the same little town like Babsi Zangerl and Jacopo Larcha. Of course, Babsi is an extremely talented rock climber. I guess all of you know who I'm talking about. And yeah, sometimes Emma trains with Babsi, and
it's good company to keep when you're 15.
Oh yeah, definitely. They learn a lot from her, that's for sure. Of course, usually they train with their coach, Mark Ammann, who's a former World Cup climber for the Austrian team. He used to be the speed coach as well, and now he's coaching the team Vorarlberg that Emma is part of.
Emma's looking good on this first one.
That was a really good method, almost reaching for the top. Although, as Charlie mentioned, you should go a little bit quicker according to the route setters.
Yeah, when you go for that, the top hold, I'm just looking, no, that's not the top hold, that's the one before that she had her right hand on. But when you go for the top, you should, apparently the left hand will land and then the right hand kind of stops your momentum. This information actually came from that man in the yellow t-shirt, Jörg Verhoeven. Maybe he just fed us a load of nonsense so that we'd look silly on the live stream, but he tells us that going quickly is the best method.
And it seems reasonable, so...
It does seem reasonable,
I guess
yeah,
I believe him this time.
It wouldn't be the first time a route setter's done that to me, though.
Yeah. Gotta be careful. Emma had a really good try the last time she tried this slab, so I wonder whether we'll see the first top in an instant on boulder number 1. Yeah, so now she really has to trust her foot, her right foot, and move kind of quickly. But these holds are no good.
It seems on both attempts that her left foot has come off and that's kind of swung around. Do you think you maybe just leave that left foot and then try and go in one movement?
Yeah, of course, once you go, you have to start from the left foot, but you won't be able to keep it on as if you're not very tall, and Emma is definitely not tall enough. So she'll have to trust her right foot entirely. But before she does that, she definitely has to go off both feet and push from the left foot. Yeah, she really takes a proper look at the boulder. I like her approach. Brushed off her shoes.
Amazing experience for climbers at this age as well. She was in the semi-final last week, also right here.
Yeah, and of course, the more semi-finals you're able to climb, the more you can work on your tactics, because you can always simulate competitions in training, but it's never the same as if you do a real comp. And since those climbers didn't have any comps this year, it's really important for them that the Austrian Federation decided to host this Austrian Climbing Summer Series. Come on, Naima.
This time, yeah, the left foot cuts loose, and she actually managed to stay on the wall for a second, but it was only a second, sadly. 30 seconds left. Probably is just about enough time for another go. Unlike the men's slab this morning, this one doesn't look too physical, shouldn't really be taking too much out of the climbers. She's got plenty of time.
It would be in time, yeah, she would have enough time for sure. She just, come on, Emma, yeah?
Oh, and that's how you do it.
Nice one.
And also does well to match that right hand hold, because that is the only top hold. If you have your one hand on the left, one hand on the right, that's not the top. You've got to get both hands on that right hand hold. She did it with a couple of seconds to spare. can
Just
see there,
in time.
that's not the top, that's the top. Really good work.
A look of relief from Emma Tavernik.
Very technical climber now, Lena Bruce. And Stephanie Leitner is back out. She's on number 2. Complete change of style now.
And if I remember correctly, Lena was one of the few climbers who actually completed the slab in semis last week. So I'm curious to see her slab performance today. I guess she could be the first one to top this boulder number 1.
She's actually struggling to get into a stable start position. She's underway now. Stephanie Leitner, we saw her on number 2. We'll talk about number 2 in just a second. Let's just stick with Lena.
Yeah, Lena is also one of the young guns. She's 16 years old from Tirol. Come on. Oh, chalks up before she goes for the last move. Perfect.
Just needs to keep her feet in play.
No.
And we were talking earlier about how the shiny bit is useless, and it wasn't even enough there to hold her in place.
Yeah, we saw a different method from Lena there. Emma kept her foot low to match, and Emma tried to move her foot up, which did not work out. Although I guess she knows now that she really has to concentrate on this last bit, on this last move on matching. Sometimes if you have the top with one hand, you already feel as if you've done the boulder, but then that's where you have to concentrate extra hard. And yeah.
First look at number 2 here. Nicely done. Timing perfect.
Yeah, good work from Stephanie Leitner here.
And she's read this boulder perfectly. That is exactly how you're supposed to do it.
Come
Top,
on now.
not great. And you can see it there. There is a little lip to grab on that ping volume, but you've got to be really accurate and ideally arrive without too much speed.
It reminds me of the the third boulder from the men where they had troubles for the last move. Sometimes you really got to commit to the last move. You can't hesitate. And it feels as if Stephanie just waited a little bit too long. And now maybe Lena will be able to actually hold the top with 2 hands.
So she sets up again.
Tries to get a toe hook, but it doesn't quite work. Come on, she has to get over to the right-hand side. Exactly, come on now.
She's just trying to squeeze with that right hand. Doesn't look convinced. Was that? Yeah, well, the judges, I couldn't quite see that. Did she have her thumb on the top
Yeah,
hole?
I think the problem was that her head was right in front of her hand, and she touched it with her index finger. So once she had a look around, I think the judge saw that she did top. Well, from this angle, you can't see. Yeah, now you can see that she actually touched it with the index finger.
Even the route setters actually gave her a round of applause. They're sitting right underneath that. It's really clever from her. Speaking of the route setters, a slight bit of work being done on number 1. Keep an eye on that. For now, though, Stephanie Leitner having another look at this top move. Yeah, solid as you like. And it's just a bit of starting tape, by the way, being repaired on number 1. Read that boulder really, really well.
Yeah, good job from Stephanie there.
I think when you find the perfect spot on that top hole, it's not too bad, but you've got to really find it. So Julia Lotz will be the next climber out. 1 top each for the climbers who've been out so far.
And that's quite surprising, because we've had 3 climbers out. All 3 have topped 1 boulder. So it seems as if this round again will be a little bit easier. That's just a prediction. Nobody knows yet, of course.
Just like a World Cup, though, 5 minutes on, 5 minutes off for the climbers. Julia Lotz now, and Emma Tabernik comes out for boulder 2.
They're both giving the boulder a good brush with their own personalized brush for this event.
It's very impressive that Austrian Climbing managed to get this event on at all in the Corona era.
Yeah, of course, at first the concept was to only have the national team attend, but then since the numbers were good in Switzerland and Germany, the Ministry of Sport decided that it would be okay to invite 4 Germans and 4 Swiss athletes to this event. And I think for the athletes that's also a huge benefit, because they can compare themselves with world-class athletes from other nations. And
speaking of world-class athletes, we've got Petra Klingler, 2016 Boulder World Champion, coming out last in this semi-final.
now Julia on problem number 1. Julia was second at the European Championship in lead in Voronezh. Of course, it was the Youth Championship. And second at the World Youth Championship combined in Arco last year. So she knows what it means to climb in youth finals already.
Dynamic climber as well. I think we'll probably enjoy boulder 2 and maybe number 4 as well, from what I know of her style.
Yep, that could be true.
Just keep an eye on Emma. I was about to say on Julia's right thigh, there's quite a big bandage. Not sure what that is. Let's keep an eye on Emma. Could be about to see second top. 2 climbers, 2 tops. They're coming thick and fast.
She has a good run, Emma. Young 15-year-old Emma Tabernik from Bludenz. Tops boulder number 2 and has 2 boulders completed so far. While Julia is still wondering what to do on this slab. She was not at all happy with her performance in the first part of the Austrian Climbing Summer Series last week. Did not qualify for semis. But now she's here and trying to give her best, and now I can see the bandage that I don't know.
I have to say it seems like the officials and the physios have been especially keen to tape absolutely everything right now in the Corona era. We've got to be super careful about any sort of transmission of disease, as well as obviously bleeding on the holds. But it does seem that they've been getting taped up for the smallest of cuts.
Yeah, which makes sense, I guess. I mean,
well, yeah, I mean, we were saying how good it was the competition had gone ahead. I was listening to the radio over lunch, and they were saying there's been a bit of an outbreak in Vienna. So I think we've got to enjoy competitions. We don't know
of course,
when we'll be able to get the next one on.
Yeah. The hammer and the dance. I don't know if you read this article, but it's quite interesting, and it's about shutting down and then loosening back up again. I mean, who knows? We are going to enjoy this comp all day long,
exactly.
And I hope you'll join us today, as it is raining in Innsbruck. It's the perfect time to watch climbing competitions. And now Julia has secured the zone. Can't quite move her foot up.
I was going to say, if you're in Innsbruck, it's raining, come down, but please don't come down. You won't be allowed in. No spectators allowed.
Yes, the crowd's
sadly
limited. There are lots of restrictions and safety requirements that are put in place.
Just have time for another go here. 35 seconds left on the clock.
Come on, Julia. Yes, she has to let go of the left foot, which is quite tricky. Come on now. Yep, back on the zone.
She's got 12 seconds to go, so she's got time to do the boulder.
Yeah, that's important, that once you're on the slab and the time's ticking, you shouldn't get yourself too stressed. But sadly, it was not about the time for Julia. She just could not complete boulder number 1.
So no tops for her so far. Not gets on the board with a zone there. Sandra Lettner has just come out, the only woman to have ever won an Olympic gold medal in climbing in the Youth Olympics Buenos Aires 2018. There she is. Ended up in the final last week here in Innsbruck and ended up 6th. Stephanie Leitner, first climber to attempt number 3 of the pink and black volumes. Again, a few bits of dual texture around. Possibly the hardest of the boulders, number 3, is the thought before the semi-final begins. Not that it ever turns out how it's supposed to.
Yeah, it's always hard to tell with the boulders, with the different conditions, with the different mental states the climbers are in. Always hard to predict. But we'll see once boulder number 1 and 2 has been topped already. Ooh, and Lena just did not get the left hand at the same time as the right. That's quite coordinative move.
That is the right method though, isn't it? She definitely read it right.
Yeah, she has to go basically with both hands at the same time though.
Yeah.
And her left hand was slightly not, wasn't reaching for the hold at the same time as the right one. Now Sandra, of course, is one of the favorites. She was in finals last week, and she is a youth world and youth European champion. So she will be looking to advance, of course. Come on, Sandra.
Yeah, she gets at least another year as the only woman to have won an Olympic gold medal in climbing, because obviously the Olympics this year pushed back to next year.
Yeah, that's true. Come on, Lena.
Oh, and she's close that time.
Yeah, but somehow her hands are not in sync yet. And she'll have to try and get both hands at the same time onto these 2 holds. Steffi is struggling at boulder number 4. Come on, 3, excuse me. Thanks.
So this is a pretty burly move, actually. You get yourself pressed into that zone and kind of move around it. Quite hard to describe, even harder to do, but you basically get wedged in underneath the zone and then try and work your way around to the left of it. And this time she's got it right. And this time she's found the top, so 3 climbers, 3 tops on that second boulder. The route setters thought it might see some traffic, and it has done.
Yeah, so Lena has climbed 2 tops in 2 boulders so far, and there's the smile of joy from Lena Broyce.
Yeah, Sandra Lettner back on number 1. Never really kind of got going in the final last week. Sandra, I think she's looking for a bit more this time out.
Yeah, definitely.
She's got some strong competition though. Jessie Pilt to be out later, Petra Klingler. She could do with getting this first boulder done.
Yeah, now
Just
she has
needs
to
to
transfer
match.
over to the right-hand side. Don't stand on that blue dual texture, because you can't actually stand on it. Perfect.
Little shake of the head, I think, kind of annoyed at herself for trying to stand on that blue volume.
Yeah,
It
because she
cost her.
almost fell off. And that's the way to do it. You have to stay low on that little screw on.
It's really, it was only Lena, hold on, we're talking just a second, because lining it up on number 3 is Stephanie. It was Julia, wasn't it? Sorry, Lena on the first boulder who thought about just using her index finger.
Yeah, exactly.
Because every climber looks like they've found it difficult to get both hands on the right hand hold.
I think it's hard to transition over to the right hand
And
side.
she was clever enough just to leave her left hand where it was and touch the hold. So 20 seconds to go, we end up with an empty stage. It would be Selina Schäuble out next, who was carrying a little bit of an ankle injury last weekend. Didn't seem to slow her down too much, but keep an eye out. I think it was the left ankle. Had a little bit of tape on it. And again this week, a little bit of pink tape. As I say, we're told it's nothing too serious. but just something to keep an eye on. Julia Lott's back out, and Emma Tabernig. I was about to say Bluden's finest, but actually she's Bluden's second finest.
Finest at what?
Climbing.
Oh, of course, second finest. Come on. Innsbruck's the town. No, I just say that because I live here, obviously. I like a lot of towns in Austria and in the whole world, so lots of good places to climb. And now we have Julia and Selina on the mats. They're actually at the same school in Innsbruck, at Sportburg. That's a school where the students can train twice a week for their sport. So no matter if they're climbers or tennis players or whatever, they can have Tuesday and Thursday, 2 hours in the morning where they can actually go and train. And Selina just completed that school, so she finished school, and Julia is still in that same school in Innsbruck. Come on, Sally.
No problem with flexibility, just chucked her left foot up, now lining up for the top. Well, pretty untroubled there, Selina Schäuble.
Yep. Good job for Selina. No.
Made it look pretty easy, to be honest. We didn't get to see Stephanie Leitner much on number 3.
No, the only thing we saw at last was that she was aiming for that last tiny little crimp on the left-hand side of the pink volume. And there's Selina's top again. It didn't seem like a big problem for her. It's a tricky starting position for Emma Tavernig on the left-hand side. She should get up with the hand at the same time, have the toe hook on the right-hand side of the volume. That would be ideal. Of course, it's always really hard if you get onto the mats and you see a boulder for the first time that you understand the sequence. Not an easy job. It's always easier if you know the sequence or if you have people to show you.
Right, can she get the timing right this time? Just missing with that left hand.
Yeah, similar to Lena's attempt before. For Lena, it was also the crux to get both hands at these 2 orange holds at the same time. And now Emma tries a different... Now, what does she do? Now she tries a different method, and it works for her. Nice. Now the burly move out left to the zone. Can't quite do it.
Yeah, I think we could see a few big struggles with that one.
Yep, you're right.
Very tiring. One of those boulders where your muscles don't really hurt, but you're out of breath at the end of it. We will see as people, more and more climbers attempt that number 3 and still just can't quite get the timing right on 2. 1 minute to go.
It's interesting to see that Emma chooses to put her right foot on the starting position first. It's interesting because I thought that for sure it would be easier with the left foot, but somehow it works better for her. And that's what it's about, finding your own perfect method for a climb. Yeah, it doesn't have quite enough power to do that move out to the zone yet. Yeah, and finally Julia is in sync. Come on. No.
Oh, slightly rushed that last move, maybe. Just didn't quite find the perfect spot.
Yeah, that's annoying. Falling off the top move's never nice.
It actually climbs quite quickly, this boulder, though, so she has got time to do it. It's just when you pull on straight after an attempt.
Yeah, and then the pressure's on as well, because you know you only got 10 seconds.
We can see Lena and Emma, 2 tops each as it stands. Looks like number 3 could well be the separator at this early stage. We haven't had a chance to have a look at number 4, but we will now because Stephanie Leitner has just come out onto it. Jana Raut now is out. She was in the Youth World Championship boulder final last year. And she is climbing over on the right-hand side of the stage. There's Sandra Lettner.
Yeah, finally we can see boulder number 4. This is Stephanie Leitner again, who has climbed boulder number 2 so far. And now we're on the slab with Jana Raut, finalist from the World Youth Championship last year in Alco. And Jana placed 12th last week.
All Austria on the stage right now, but after Jana we'll see Helene Wolf, the first non-Austrian in this competition, as Anna already mentioned. 4 climbers per discipline per country from Switzerland and Germany over here.
And Stephanie just forgot that left hand volume. Supposedly she has to use it, I guess, because if you're able to put a toe hook in, then you can actually reach to the zone a little bit more controlled. As it is a pocket, it's really hard to aim for it. So if you go dynamically, that'll be definitely a hard choice.
Well, it looked briefly like the boulders might be a little bit too easy, but we're midway through this rotation and nobody's topped anything, so perhaps the first couple of climbers are going really well. Either way.
Yeah, that's possible.
Seems to have settled down a little bit.
Yep, you're right.
Sandra Lettner now on number 2.
And Sandra is also at the Sportburg in Innsbruck, at the school that I mentioned earlier, and she just finished it as well. So she's a high school. She has just finished high school and top boulder number 2. Nice.
Now this looks pretty promising.
2 tops, 2 boulders.
Lena on number 3 wasn't too far off. This was Sandra on 2.
Yeah, and Lena and Steffi are still struggling with the first part of their boulder.
Can't quite seem to repeat the lower section now.
Yeah, and Steffi can finally put the toe hook in, but can't quite advance.
Here we are on the pretty burly number 3. It's kind of almost, I'd imagine, climbs a bit like an arete, where you're trying to get around this thing that's in front of you.
Yeah, these crimps are no good at all. So you could see that Lena, I mean, she's 16 years young. She doesn't quite have the power yet, or the finger strength to actually hold this crimp in a solid position. Maybe she'll prove me wrong in her next go. Yeah, and Steffi's also struggling. I mean, it's a very powerful boulder, that boulder number 4. Of course, these are all climbers from the Austrian youth climbing team. They're trying hard and they're gaining experience by climbing in the semi-final at this Austrian Climbing Summer Series.
Yeah, let's have another look at number 3.
Oh, she does this move really well, Lena. She manages to get the foot at the same time as the hand.
Time was running out, so she threw for the top. almost collected Helen Wolf as Helen ran past her. Lena still leading the way, 2 tops. A few climbers now on few tops. Emma Tabernig and Sandra Lettner as well, and Stephanie Leitner and Selina Schäuble with a top each. And as I say, first German climber out, first of 3 in this semi-final. We've also got 2 Swiss climbers a bit later on, both of whom, interestingly enough, got 5 tops in the qualifiers. So all appears to be well in the Swiss climbing world. Certainly on the women's side, Andrea Kubin got 5 tops, and Petra Klingler, who will be the final climber out, also got 5 tops.
Yeah, Helena has had an interesting season in 2019. She placed 5th at the Quiff in Sheffield. And before that, she had 4 years of break where she didn't compete at all. And we are back with Emma Tabernig on boulder number 4.
She wasn't far off then, she just missed, I think.
Yeah, she almost managed to grab the zone. Nobody did before her. But these pockets are really hard to get into.
Remind me, the zone is pretty good, isn't it? But the one below it's not that good.
Yeah, the zone is all right. I mean, if Jörg says the hold is good, he's part of the route setting team, then that doesn't mean that the hold's actually very good. But he believes that it's an okay hold. Of course, all these boulders are really hard. And
camera finds Selina Schäuble just in time. High foot actually looks slightly awkward, but it works for her. So second top for her. Didn't make it look quite as easy as the first one, but the same result. Yeah, she flashed boulder 1 and got the second one second go, so that's a pretty good day for Selina Schäuble, and that's about as close as you can get. So let's have a look at Emma. I think she just missed that zone, and same again.
Yeah, because that zone is quite far away. Now the top of Selina. She looks satisfied, as she can be, of course. And here's Julia Lotz on the right-hand side and Emma Tabernig on the left.
So 3 climbers still on the mat. Selina Schäuble's headed back in, but the other 3 still out here. Helen pretty close on number 1. Good hand, well, solid right hand on the top hole, but couldn't bring the left across. Neither of the other climbers come too close to the top just yet.
Yeah.
Let's have another look. You can see where she's going. So that first pocket she's going for is not particularly good. It's more just to kind of get you in position for the move to the zone.
Come on,
have
Emma.
another look. Oh, this time she's really accurate.
Come on, Emma.
Another pretty big move up now. You got to squeeze that hole on the right-hand side of that banana volume. Get yourself set up. The top is not great.
Nah, and it's awkward because you have your right foot there and you're going with the left arm. It looks as if you'd like to have a left foot somewhere, but there's nothing. And now Helena is back on the top hold of boulder number 1, but can she match it? Yes, she can. Nice. Oh. And she stood on the dual texture.
Yeah, she was just straining. I'm not sure she could have held that for much longer, but she held it for long enough.
Yeah, 2 seconds are long enough. And that's just in time for the top. Julia struggling with the foot out left, and Emma has used a lot of attempts, so I'm wondering whether she'll have enough power to do these tricky moves again.
Well, the move off from the zone looks hard.
Yeah, definitely.
Let alone the move to it. So
I mean,
sadly not.
At some point as a climber you don't have a chance. If the time's ticking, you have to go get it. Yeah, you have to go and have another go, but then sometimes it's worth resting, and I wonder if Maybe Emma should have rested a little bit longer in between these burns. But she did a really good job. Climbed 2 boulders. High point on number 4, and I think she had a good round. And now that's Emilia Warensky. She's from Sistrans, just out of Innsbruck. She also goes to Sportborg, same school as a lot of Austrian athletes who live in Innsbruck and still go to school. Sandra just completed that school and she's on boulder number 3. Yeah, no problems with this burly move out left. Maybe we'll see the first top on boulder number 3.
Yeah, we haven't seen the top on boulder number 3 or boulder number 4 yet. It's very early days, of course, but Sandra, one of the favourites to get in the final.
Come on, Sandra. Yeah, and you could see the difference from Lena to Sandra. Come on.
Yes, looking very strong, Sandra Lettner. That's 3 tops on 3 boulders. We'll have to check the attempts. That might well have been her first go, actually.
Yeah, she definitely didn't waste a lot of time. And now Amelia is already aiming for the top hold, at least for the top move. Oh, no, but that was too fast. Looking back at the wall, wondering. Yeah, that was a pure show of power by Sandra. Power and finger strength. And there's her smile. Good job.
So Sandra Lettner, the first climber with 3 tops, and she's still got a boulder to go. Looking very strong here.
Yeah, and it's always nice if you start out at the beginning of the field and you're already top 3 boulders, then you know, well, I'm doing good. Emilia also chooses, yeah. Standing on this dual texture is not a good option. Helena just managed to do it right before Emilia, but all the other climbers had to stay low. And I think that would be the better option.
This was it's actually a replay. Another top on number 2.
For Jana. Nice.
Emilia now maybe just needs to find her composure again.
Yeah,
after that near miss.
Sometimes that's the difference between very experienced climbers and youth climbers. That, yeah, she actually needs to find her focus again. Not worry about the top that she just let go, but try to pull off the mats and repeat it straight away. Come on, Emilia. She's a really promising talent from the Austrian team. She placed 2nd at the European Youth Cup in Saint-Pierre last year. Oh.
This time she gets it done. A couple of climbers have made that mistake, tried to trust that high foot, and it's not worked out.
Yeah, and it's tricky to match that hold. I mean, you really have to get in the right position and still hold on. She shakes her head because she wanted it earlier, of course, but then she got the top, so that's good. Puts her in a good place.
So Sandra Lettner still the only climber to have done number 3. Nobody yet done number 4. Slightly reminiscent of the men's semi-final as it stands. Stephanie Leitner actually just walked out into the hall. 1 top and 3 zones for her, down in 5th. Sadly, I don't think it's going to be enough for a place in the final. But great experience nonetheless.
Yeah, Lena has topped 2 boulders so far. 30 seconds left on the clock. And this is definitely a really powerful boulder.
If she could get this done, it would be 3 tops and 4 zones. That would be a pretty good looking score.
Yeah, but it would surprise me a little bit, I have to admit. Not the most powerful climber yet.
No.
But she has a great future.
Now here's a climber I've been looking forward to seeing, Eva Maria Hammelmüller. Top of the qualifying round last week, top of the semi-final last week, and second in the final. Didn't quite bring that form to yesterday's qualifiers, but yeah, after last week's performance, really one to watch. Came very close to winning the competition.
I think for her, maybe it must have been a different situation to be in, because she's now one of the favorites. I mean, everyone was betting on Jessie, Petra and Johanna for sure, and nobody really, like, she's the dark horse from the women's side, and now suddenly she's the favorite, and you have to be able to deal with that kind of pressure. So we have Julia Lotz on the left-hand side, trying to get into these pockets, and Selina Schäuble in the center, and Wolf Helene from Germany on the right-hand side of the screen. And then there's Eva Maria Hammelmüller, please excuse me, on the slab. Come on, Eva.
Yeah, what a performance last week, beating Jessie Pilz and Petra Klingler is no mean feat.
Yeah, she was on fire last week. And might...
Thought about trusting that blue hold, thinks again about it.
Oh
no, doesn't like it.
Oh my god, that's crazy. It's so horrible to watch boulders like this, in my opinion, because I am sweating so much as I'm sitting here. I'm way more nervous than as if I would be climbing myself.
Georg, the Austrian physio, seems to be on the live stream more than the climbers. This is the third or fourth time he's been on today. He's a camera hog.
He just wants to be on the screen. No, a lot of climbers just really injure themselves or are bleeding.
He's got a face for radio. Sorry, Georg. Eva Maria now having another look at number one. Not the first climber and probably not the last to trust that foothold whilst trying to match for the top.
Come
and
on,
interestingly
Eva.
enough, no one else been cunning enough to just reach over with one finger. Well, she'll consider that a bit of a wasted attempt, the one before, but she got it done in the end. That's all that matters. Most climbers have actually topped number one. She will be the 7th out of 10 when the scores update.
Yep. And there's Wolf Helene.
Yeah, that is her on top. That's live pictures. Perfect timing. After Eva Maria, you can see Selina Schäuble in the background there. Don't forget the brush.
Yeah, every climber has their own brushes, and every official is wearing a mask. And there are a lot of empty chairs, no crowd. Only the women are allowed to watch the women's comp, and vice versa for the men. So it's definitely a kind of a different situation now, but at least we are watching a climbing competition. And
oh, it's nice, isn't it?
yeah, I really enjoy it. I have to say, I missed it a lot. Of course, it needs to be as safe as possible, and yeah, a lot of restrictions and requirements. The Austrian Federation had to write a huge concept to the Ministry of Sport, but I'm so glad it got confirmed and they're able to have this comp now with 4 Swiss and 4 German athletes invited each, because they had good numbers at the time the concept was written. We would have, we would have of course loved to have a World Cup here. I mean, Innsbruck has organized the World Cup since so many years, and usually the crowd is amazing. And it's so cool as a climber to climb in front of a big crowd that actually knows what climbing is about. And it's definitely the case in Innsbruck usually. Yeah, sadly a disappointing round for Julia Lotz.
Selina Schäuble doesn't get that one done. She got the first 2 though. And
yeah,
she got the zone on that one.
That's why she's in second position. Sandra Lettner has 3 tops so far, 3 zones. And Selina has 2 tops, same as Lena and Emma.
Roxana Wienand, there she is, second German climber out today. Lucia Dorfel still to come.
Yeah, Roxana is also 20 years young. She was 19th at the Austrian Climbing Summer Series Part 1 last week. So we are happy to see her back in action. She's also the Bavarian bouldering champion from 2020, so they must have had a comp before March.
Yeah, it is just nice to have some competitions back. And we've also been spared any corona testing, which apparently I've heard from other sporting events in Austria is particularly unpleasant.
Yeah, it depends how many people are there. That's why the Austrian Federation decided not to have the men watch the women, because if you have more than 100 people, then the restrictions or requirements are even stricter. So that's why no testing yet. Wow, and Roxana makes quick work of boulder number 1, and she does not. I am sorry. I should have known, because a lot of people dropped that top hold already.
Only one person's actually managed to use that foothold.
And that's
use
her
that
teammate.
hold. Yeah, use that hold as a foothold. Amelia finds top on number 2.
Yeah, Emilia was already climbing really strong last week. Just like Sandra Lettner, who was in finals.
She's actually
and
just...
could be the first to top 4 boulders in this semi-final round. She has topped 3 boulders so far, and this is her last boulder.
She must also, we didn't cut to her till a bit later, but she must also have got the zone, which means she's on 3 tops and 4 zones at least. But looks capable of doing the boulder, plenty of time left. So she's already been in position once.
She knows how to get to the top, but she needs to match it.
She's going to trust that left foot again.
Wow, and the Germans actually managed to stand on the dual texture. Good job to Roxana Wienand.
Well, there does seem to be enough texture for Germans to stand on it, but nobody else seems to be able to. Here goes Sandra Lettner, gunning for 4 tops, which surely would be enough for a place in the final, regardless of attempts. Not that she's needed that many attempts, actually. 7 before this boulder.
Come on, Sandra. Boy, you can see the pure show of power compared to the women we saw earlier today. And there's the 4th top in her 4th boulder, which should put her in finals.
Yeah, only her 2nd attempt, so 4 tops requiring only 9 attempts. It's a pretty good score for Sandra Lettner. I'd be surprised if 6 people can beat that.
Yeah, no, I would say that we should be able to see Sandra in finals. Good job to her. She climbed excellently throughout the semifinals, and hopefully it makes her forget the qualification round. And now Jana is crimping hard. Of course, she's from Imst, where Angie Aita is from. Austrian pro climber and 4-time world champion. In Imst, they can crimp hard, I can tell you. So Jana should actually, if she advances to the zone, if she'll be able to crimp these 2 crimps on the upper hand of the purple volume, she should be fine. But first she has to manage to get to the zone, of course. Come on, Jana. Tricky starting position, hey?
Yeah, and she's pulling back on, but with 20 seconds left, don't think she'll be able to get much out of that. No, Julia Fieser out next, right in the middle of the 5 climbers who got 4 tops in 6 climbers who got 4 tops in yesterday's qualifiers. Eva Maria Hamel-Muller back out as well. Helena Wolf and Selina Schäuble, the other two climbers, as we look across the stage.
Yeah, Julie is actually more of a lead specialist. She has already attended a lot of World Cups, 18 times lead semi-finalist. So she knows what a semi-final feels like in lead, not so much in bouldering. She placed 10th at the lead World Cup in Xiamen last year and 13th the year before in Xiamen and Kran.
The new venue in Xiamen has to be seen to be believed.
Yeah.
At the IFSC World Cup, it's ridiculous. It's a 5-star. It's officially a hotel. It looks like a palace. Not sure it's 100% genuine marble, but it's quick top of number 3
by Helena Wolf.
Yeah. It's the most extraordinary venue. Yeah, it's kind of it's like a fake palace. It's utterly bizarre. And then the technical meetings in a room that looks like, a function room at Buckingham Palace. Massive high ceilings and marble columns. It's very strange. Amazing.
Crazy.
Needless to say, they didn't accommodate us there, though, sadly.
Of course, we're not in China. We're in Austria right now. And
so
Eva tops boulder number 2.
No fake palaces, no marble columns.
No, we're just in an athletics hall, which is behind the Kletterzentrum.
We're just in between the pole vault and the long jump.
Yeah, exactly. That's where you can picture it.
Not in a 5-star hotel, unfortunately. And she trusts the left foot. Julia looking pretty happy with that.
Yeah, Julie Fischer tops boulder number 1 and has obviously a lot of joy by doing so. Nice one, Julie.
European, let's just have a look at Eva Maria. We had so many tops to catch up on in that round. Selina Schäuble finds herself as the only climber still on the stage.
And Helena also completed 3 tops so far with 1 boulder to go. So it's possible that you'll need at least 3 tops to advance to finals.
I think so, yeah.
Selina could still do that because she topped 2 boulders so far. This is her 4th boulder. So she should, of course, try and get a top on boulder number 4. It's a rather powerful boulder. Come on, Sally.
Feet cut loose, but she manages to hang on to it anyway.
Does not even look at the volume out left. Neither looked, not touched, or
and also,
headed.
yeah, and the orange hold below the zone she ignored as well.
Mm-hmm. So maybe she should try and think about a different method here. Of course, it's definitely possible to jump to the hold that she's just brushing. They are kind of okay pockets. But if you could use the yellow volume out left, you could either have a toe hook, heel hook. That would make it a little bit easier for Selina here. Sometimes it's a good idea to step back on the mats, chalk up, as she's doing right now. And take a proper look again at the boulder. Try and see whether maybe there's another way.
Insgesamt gibt es 10 Premiere bei dieser Austrian Climbing Summer Series. Das ist Bewerb Nummer 3 mit Selina Schäuble auf ihrem Finalboulder.
Come on, Selina.
Here she goes again, goes straight for the zone, doesn't like that intermediate one. Selina Schäuble, this would be her in 3rd, but I don't think she would stay there for long, sadly.
Now we have seen a lot of tops, and I believe you would need three tops to advance to finals, at least. We'll see if that's a correct prediction or not. And now there it is. There's the toe hook. Yeah. So she manages to grab the zone hold. Come on, Selina.
just ran out of
She
time.
might be disappointed because she should have used that foot way earlier. Too bad for Selina.
So the third and final German climber in the semi-final, Lucia Dörfel, gets underway on number 1. Roxana Wienand on number 2, Emilia Warensky on number 3, and Jana Raut on number 4. Well, of the 3 climbers to have trusted that blue foothold on number 1, 2 of them have been German, so we shall see whether Lucia Dörfel uses the same method again.
And Jana is the first one to pull onto the wall on this last and powerful problem. Number 4, does she use the left-hand volume? Yep, perfect. That definitely helps for this move. Otherwise, it's so hard to aim for a pocket.
Very accurate.
Yep.
Really nice work from her so far.
Come on, Jana.
Got the power as well for that fight. That
she would be the second to top it, but she doesn't. And now Emilia is aiming. Come on, Emilia. One of the youngest of the field, topping boulder number 3. Nice job from Emilia Warensky. And she did that quickly.
Yeah, amazing pinch strength. That right hand landed and it just locked on the hold.
Yeah, and there's Lucia. Lucia is 20 years old. At the first part of the Austrian Climbing Summer Series, she placed 8th. She's the German champion in lead from last year. And she was 3rd at the Youth World Championship combined in Arco last year. She also uses the high foot and tops the boulder. Nice job to Lucia Dörfel.
So
for the men's semi-final, the slab was the hardest or the decisive boulder, but now it seems as if it's the easiest because we've had the most tops on boulder number 1 and 2.
Yeah, 3 and 4 proving the real difficult ones. That's how you do number 3. That was a replay of Emilia earlier on.
Yep. And 4 is probably the hardest one because we've only seen Sandra top that boulder so far.
I don't know if we should read anything into this, but the only 3 people who've done boulder 3 have all flashed it.
Interesting. Interesting statistics. Oh, yes. And now Roxana is on her way of topping the 2nd boulder for her end of the whole semi-final round. Nice one.
Looking very solid, no problem at all. So Jana Raut, the only climber still out on the stage. Got a bit of time just to contemplate this boulder. No point burning any energy and just using up attempts for no reason. I think she knows how to do it.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to actually take the time to rest because you feel like you know how it works and you want to show it or you want to try it right away. But then you need to save some power and energy to be able to complete such a powerful boulder. And that's why it's very smart to rest until the last minute. There was just the beep and now Jana gives it one more try.
Yeah, she's got a minute left.
Come on, Jana. Wow, she does the lower section really efficiently and smoothly. Come on now.
Slapping it with the right hand. Now the key is to get in position and not let the feet cut loose.
Yeah, the crux is that last move. You could see that Sandra actually used a lot of, she was able to hold the hold a little bit better and to really pull through it. Jana didn't quite manage, but it was a strong performance nonetheless.
Speaking of Sandra, she's actually just come back into the arena. She was debriefing a second ago with Katja Sauerwein, former World Cup climber, of course, turned Austrian coach. just debriefing with each athlete as they come out, albeit from behind a mask, as is the norm these days.
Yes, of course, the coaches are analyzing the climbs. They are filming every climber, and then after the climb or after the round is completed, usually you check up with the coach and talk about what has been going through your mind and how it actually worked out for you. Sometimes it helps to get a different perspective. Coaches can see some things a little differently. That's important if you want to advance as an athlete, if you want to gain experience and also be able to take the feedback from your coaches. And now Helene could join Sandra in climbing 4 boulders. On the very left-hand side, Helene Wolf. 3 tops so far, now on boulder number 3.
Yeah, and she can move ahead of Sandra as well if she could do this one first try, which admittedly is a pretty big challenge. Over on the right-hand side of the screen, by the way, here she is, Franziska Sterra. Nice little foot swap. Thinks about the high foot. Will she trust it? It works for her. It's been about 50-50 actually, climbers who've slipped off at that stage and climbers it's worked for.
Yeah, but quick work for Franzi Sterra. Of course, she was not happy with her performance last week, so she'll be working hard to gain a spot in the final tonight. And now we have Eva Hammelmüller in the center on boulder number 3. Burly move out left. Come on, Eva. She knows how to crimp. She just climbed a lot in Ötztal. And that's granite climbing, so lots of crimping hard. She shouldn't have a problem with this, but drops the last move. And Julie Fischer.
Yeah. Who got the job done on number 1.
Yeah.
Oh, and tries something completely different on number 2. Helena could be lining it up for the second top of boulder 4, just a little short.
But it's a burly move. You really have to, there's nothing to help you. You have to make it work from your left biceps, basically. Right-hand biceps. There are no feet, no holds to help.
Yulia closest to the camera. Actually caught up with Stasha Geo recently, the European boulder champion, and she'd been outdoor climbing with Yulia. They've been over in Niedertai.
Yes, that's another spot that is very close to Innsbruck in the Ötztal Valley. Julie has been climbing a lot outside since the lockdown, or since the gyms were closed. She has climbed up to 8C. So really strong climber. And now
There's
Eva,
Maria, yeah, looking handy on number 3.
hopefully she'll get the right method this time. Last time she forgot the right hand crimp that she's reusing right now. Come on, Eva, yeah. That's the right position to go to the top hold. Come on, don't let
she
go.
was looking tired, but she's managed to salvage it. And finds the top. So that's 3 boulders, 3 tops from her. Used quite a few attempts, I think, on that third one. We'll see exactly how many it was. Julia trying something completely different on number 2, but it works just fine. First time we've seen that method. Here she goes for the top. It's a pretty good hold you're going for. And there it is.
Yeah, and it works for her. I mean, she knows that she's not the most coordinative climber. So she's tried the static version. And yeah, made it work. So good job to Julie. And now the burly move for Helene. Oh, almost.
It's close to that time.
But with 40 seconds. Eva was happy with that top on boulder number 3. It's always cool to see the emotions of the climbers. Yeah, it just feels good if you can have a signature move on the top, let's say. Feels good to be waving from the top for sure. Come on now, Helene.
Of course, you had your signature move. Hands, elbows by the side. Come on,
Yeah,
asking
it
for the
definitely
crowd.
helped to have the crowd behind me. Of course, now this is completely different. There's no crowd at all. Empty chairs as we're looking through the hall.
You could just do it out of habit anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe
It
the brush.
would
There's no
still be a little
brushes.
bit awkward maybe, but... And here is Mattea Pezzi.
Yeah, 5th last week. Here, she's actually the highest ranked of the climbers who got 4 tops in the qualifying round.
And she climbed in finals last week, finished 5th. And she was especially strong in the boulder number 3 in finals, which was the powerful one. But first up, she has to climb the slab. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, now young gun Emilia Warensky is on the most powerful boulder. Will she find the right method? And will she have enough power to actually get high up on these pockets? Come on, Emilia. Yeah.
Yeah, did well, really quick with that.
Strong
hand swap.
performance by her so far. 3 tops on 3 boulders.
Yeah, just a little short on that move.
Come on, Roxana.
Speaking of strong performances, Roxana, another top for her. That's 3 tops, 3 boulders.
And I hope 3 tops will be enough to advance to finals. Maybe.
Mattea Puzzi, perhaps getting it done. Still not matched yet.
Has to trust the foot. Poof.
Could actually just reach out with your thumb. Either way, secures the top.
Nice job by Mattea. That top move is not a very nice position to be in, because you're shaking and you're not 100% sure whether you can control it. Wow, and Roxana just jumps straight out.
Yeah, 3 tops on 3 boulders for her. There's going to be quite a few climbers with 3 tops not making the final, I think.
Yep.
We've already got 5 climbers with 3 tops or more. I think 4 will see you into the final, but 3 might not. You certainly need all 4 zones.
Yep. Sandra is the only one to top 4 boulders so far. And Lucia Dörfel from Germany is trying to get her 2nd top on boulder number 2. Come on, Lucia. Nice.
Yeah, tops coming thick and fast here.
Excellent work by Lucia Dörfel from Chemnitz, close to Dresden. She lives in a climbing, one of the cities with a long climbing history. Maybe you remember the superb sandstone towers.
They look amazing.
They are amazing. Huge and long climbing history.
Are they
Beautiful
the ones
climbs.
with, you put the rope in for protection?
Exactly, you have to use knots sometimes, and you're not allowed to use chalk, which is quite strange if you climb there, because as climbers you're so used to chalk.
Yeah, it's second
And
nature, yeah.
I had a hard time not climbing with chalk, I have to admit. And yeah, now we're looking at Emilia Warensky with 1 minute and 10 seconds left on the clock for her.
She's not been far off. She seems to do this lower section quite smoothly, or she did earlier on when she was
Yeah, the
not
lower
too
section
tired.
looked really good. But the last move is so burly and hard and powerful that it would still surprise me if Emilia would be able to climb that boulder, but I would love to be proven wrong.
She'd have 4 tops if she could do this
Yeah, it
one.
would be great if she could do it. Come on, Emilia. She's struggling with that hold. I mean, she is one of the young stars,
She's gonna
only
have another
16
go.
years old. Yeah, she gives it all. It's her last boulder. Nothing to lose for Emilia Warensky. She can definitely be satisfied with her performance. 3 tops. Not quite a top on boulder number 4, but she has a long way to go.
Andrea Kumin will be out next, the first of 5 climbers who got 5 tops in the qualifiers yesterday.
Oh, so we're down to the top 5 from qualies. We are here in the athletics hall, right behind the Kletterzentrum, the climbing gym, where the World Championship wall from 2018 has been set up for these climbers. Some of you might remember the World Championship in Innsbruck in 2018.
Who could forget Kai Harada winning the men's?
Yeah,
Janja Garnbret on the women.
That was amazing, yeah.
That was back when Janja only won 1 World Championship at a time. Now she gets 3 at a time. Like in Hachioji, she didn't let anyone else have a go. Yeah. Oh, she let someone else win the speed.
How kind.
Yeah. Andrea Kumin now, 5 tops for her yesterday in the qualifiers, as I mentioned, same as her compatriot Petra Klingler. I think she thought the judges were calling her down, but they weren't. Doesn't need to worry.
Yeah, she's 22 years old. She has already started in 45 World Cups in her career.
I know, it's an amazing amount for that age.
Yeah, that's a lot of World Cups for only 22 years old.
Got a top over on number 4, by the way. You might have heard the MC shouting. Andrea Kumin is going to trust that left foot. And is rewarded.
And there's the top for Andrea. She might like Innsbruck. She has her first World Cup start was in Innsbruck back in 2013. And now she's back for the 2020 Austrian Climbing Summer Series.
This is a replay, by the way, of Eva Maria Hammelmuller, who, as we are about to see, now has a clean sweep of 4 out of 4. And actually required less attempts to get than Sandra Lettner, so she moves into first place. Julia Fischer is also top number 3. And are we about to see an empty stage for a few minutes?
And that means
only 1 climber left. We are, yeah, Franziska Steres tops number 2.
But with these many tops, I believe that you'll need 4 boulders to advance to finals.
I think we might see someone have 4 tops and not go through. It's possible. Yeah, 2 minutes left. So if you're watching at home, you probably just about got time to get the kettle on and get back.
We'll rewatch Julie's top on boulder number 3. Excellent. Good work from Julie Fischer. Wow, she's on a roll.
Yeah, so we've got about a 2-minute break. We'll just recap a few of the tops. This was Franzi Stera on number 2. Let's have a look.
Yeah, Franzi really wants to be in finals this time. She missed out on the first part of the Austria Climbing Summer Series last week. She has already climbed in semifinals, placed 11th at the Bouldering World Cup in Vail 2018. And as we can see on the results, almost everyone did a boulder.
Yes.
I believe only Julia did not climb a boulder, but all the other women were able to top 1 boulder. And it will be interesting to see.
That was a funny event, the Vail in 2018, because there was a World Cup in Japan the week before. And I just remember the climbers barely knew what day of the week it was.
Yeah, usually there is an IFSC rule, that you're not allowed to have a week, like that you need a week break if you change a continent.
Yeah, I can't remember why the rule was broke. I think I don't think a reason was given. It was just broken. But the climbers were broken too, so it was a funny event.
I mean, if you have to travel from Japan to the States and then you have to try and put on your best performance, I mean, jet lag definitely hits you at some point.
Yeah, I remember not feeling amazing, for sure.
Jet lags can be tough, that's for sure.
Certainly not an issue for anyone this week, though. Nice short journeys for everyone. Most people came on their bikes.
Yep. We only have Austrians, Germans and Swiss athletes here. So no jet lags for any of these climbers. And on boulder number 1.
Yeah, Lea Kempf.
Lea is another really promising athlete from Vorarlberg. She trains with Emma Taubernik, who we saw earlier in this round, and climbs very efficiently and yeah, really good climber. In the middle now we have, or in the center, we have Dorf Lucia from Germany and Roxana Wienand on the left-hand side. She could also have 4 tops. She has climbed 3 tops so far. And on the right spot, there's Mattea Bötzi.
Yeah, there she is, Mattea, getting started nearly on number 2. Attempts, by the way, could be absolutely crucial. Roxana Wienand gunning here to join the 4 tops club. Chooses not to use the intermediate hold, goes straight for the zone.
Yeah, Lea is part of Mark Hammann's team in Vorarlberg. She is only 15 years old, placed 9th at the first part of the Austrian Climbing Summer Series. And she climbs in all different terrain. She already climbs multi-pitches, this young lady. And yeah, very talented climber in general. And there's Lucia on boulder number 3.
Thinking about heel hook in the zone, you're actually better, I think, just going for it. Yeah, and there it is.
Nice.
Top for her.
Yeah, you really got to commit sometimes. And she does it in style. The heel hook is no good on the boulder number 3.
Mattea Bötzi, there we go, we cut to her just in time. He's lining it up on number 2 and getting the job done on number 2. Only 2 climbers have attempted that and not done it.
Yeah, and of course these climbers, they know they're in the transit zone. They know that climbers before them come back regularly and fast. So they know that the boulders are not the hardest, which puts a lot of pressure on these athletes. And sometimes if you think, well, you got to commit, you might think twice. Not quite the right beta yet for Lea.
That was Mattea on number 2. Easy as you like.
And now Roxana used the yellow volume. Can she top the boulder?
We've been seeing a few replays. These are live pictures of her lining it up.
Nice try, but that's...
to say. Not sure that's allowed.
No, sadly you're not allowed. If there would be a panel on the left-hand side, then it would be allowed. But since there's no panel, there's no need for black tape. And yeah, sadly Roxana had to be called down. And Lea gives it another try on the slab. Come on, Lea. Yeah, come on, Lea. Oh, opts for the high foot. Can she? And goes down again. Yeah, that's the way.
That's how you do it. So she finds the top. 1 minute to go now. Frankly, quite an amusing moment as Roxana tries to use the edge of the wall. She'll have another go though. She's the only climber still on the stage. It's the replay of Lea on number 1.
Now Roxana on boulder number 4. Wow. Tries the dynamic version again. I'm surprised. I guess she doesn't have time to chalk up again.
I think she'll be pretty annoyed at herself about using the edge of the wall. She was in a good position. There was no need to do it, really.
Yeah, definitely.
And
but sometimes it's about an instant, you know, and you make the wrong decision. And of course, then you're annoyed at yourself. But what can you do? Too bad. Roxana climbed 3 boulders. Looked strong on boulder number 4, but could not quite make it.
Yeah, she'll actually move up slightly. She did get 4 zones. It's just not come through on the scores yet. So she'll move up to 4th as it stands. A few climbers already finished their rotation who sadly won't be going any further. Selena Schäuble, Lena Bryce, Emma Tabernig, Mattea Putzi still going. Jessie Pilz now on the far right of the stage, not quite visible on that shot. Andrea Kumin on number 2, Francesca Sterra on 3, and Julia Fieser over on number 4 on the left of the screen.
Yeah, 3 Austrians, 1 Swiss athlete out on the mats. And here's the world champion from 2018.
And of course, a qualified Olympian, made it through at the first time of asking at Hachioji World Championships last year.
Jessie is 23 years old. She lives in Innsbruck. And her first World Cup start was back in 2012. And now Franzi is on the zone of boulder number 3. Come on, Franzi. Yeah, crossing over is the better option, let's say. Yeah. Come on now.
Setting it up and finding the top. So that's 3 tops on 3 boulders.
And of course, this is super stressful. I mean, if you know that everyone else is climbing boulders very fast and you're on the slab, just like Jessie now, where you have to take your time somehow.
Bit of a high-risk method from Jessie. Didn't work out. That's Franzi Sterrett. No problem on number 3. Andrea Kumin actually just missing it on number 2. And this is Julia Fieser looking very strong on number 4. This would be for 4 tops.
Yeah!
Julia Fieser finds a 4th top. She's...
What? That's a surprise.
Yeah, kind of stayed under the radar for this semi-final, but she's got 4 tops and almost certainly a place in the final.
Definitely a dark horse because she's not the most powerful climber, lead specialist, and now she just came in and walked through these boulders. Good job to Julie. Yeah, and the speaker talks about the boulders, and of course he can't give any method away, but he talks about, well, there's a top here, top there, 4 boulders, 4 blah blah blah, and that of course the other athletes can hear that, and it's not the easiest state to be in for Jessie Pilz right now. Andrea manages to climb boulder number 2.
Yeah, Jessie Pilz now alone on the stage. As you rightly say, knowing full well that there are plenty of climbers with 4 tops. I don't think 3 tops will get you into this final, actually. I think you need 4.
I don't think so either. I think you will need 4 tops, and it could already be decisive for Jessie. It's definitely easier if you're at the beginning of the field without any expectation, without knowing what other climbers would do like. Come on, Jessie. No. But then being at the end of the game, like being out last, knowing that you have to climb 4 boulders, is a completely different mental game. And of course, Jessie can climb this boulder. I am 100% sure, but can she do it within 1 minute? And with so much pressure. I sure hope so. Come on, Jessie. She has won her first World Cup in Chamonix in 2018, and she is the lead world champion from Innsbruck 2018. So she knows how to climb in a final, and she knows how to top a boulder.
Also won the season finale that year in Xiamen.
Yep.
He had an amazing year that year. 2019 wasn't bad either. Boulder finals, Olympic qualification.
Yeah, good job. Hats off to Jessie Pilz. Not an easy situation to be in. Coming out as the favorite and then struggling on the slab. But
Speaking
now,
of favourites, one of them is just come on the stage, Johanna Ferber, winner last week.
yeah, definitely. She is the favorite. I mean, she won last week. She showed us that she's capable of winning. So on number 4, we have Lucia Dörfel, Mattea Pötzi on boulder number 3, and Lea Kempf on boulder number 2.
So right now we've got 3 climbers with 4 tops, Eva-Maria Hammelmuller, Sandra Lettner and Julia Fieser. And then a cluster of climbers down there with 3 tops. So I still think you'll need 4 to get through to the final. I think we might even see climbers with 4 tops not make it through. Attempts could be really important.
Yeah, Jo is a very technical climber. Usually she really enjoys slabs. And this could be a very quick ascent of boulder number 1. Wow. She's so consistent. Wow. Good job to Johanna.
Great start to the competitive year for her. Not often the year starts in July. But that's how
Not
it's
in
gone this
bouldering.
year. No. It would normally be done by now.
Yeah. Beautiful top by Johanna Ferber on boulder number 1. And now Lucia Dörfel on boulder number 4. Can she do the burly last move without using the edge?
See another top. She's actually used very few attempts as well on the other boulders. So she'd be in a really strong position if she could find a top there. Lea Kempf, no problem up to the zone.
Come on, Lea. Zack.
Just not getting the timing quite right on that move.
Yeah.
Mattea Pötzi on number 3.
Yeah, she can't quite get high enough to get over to the zone on boulder number 3 for Mattea, which is surprising because last week she was one of 2 climbers who looked extremely strong on the powerful boulder. And I supposed that boulder number 3, especially the move to the zone, is really powerful. Maybe I was wrong. Come on, Lea.
All
The crux
3
now is
remaining
having the
climbers
same,
off the
like,
ground.
hands at the same time. Nice. Come on, Lea.
Very solid on that last move. Mattea Pötzi wrestling with number 3. It's high pressure here. If you don't find a top on a boulder, that is almost certainly your semi-final over.
Yeah, you need to climb 4 boulders in this rather easy semi-final round. And there's the second top for Lea Kempf on her second boulder. Good job by her. So Lucia and Mattea both have to complete their boulders to advance to the finals. At least that's likely. Not 100% sure yet. Come on, Lucia.
Could we be about to see another top on number 4? Yes, we are. So that will be her with 4 tops. Mattea Pötzi looking for another final, 15 seconds to go. Stays in the hunt with the top on number 3. had to work for that one.
Yeah, and she already needed a lot of attempts on boulder number 2, so it could also be crucial, or attempts could be crucial to enter finals.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to see people with 4 tops not making it.
Yeah, it's very likely to happen. And there's the top from Mattea with 15 seconds on the clock. There's our big favorite, Petra Klingler.
Yeah, Petra Klingler gets underway. Went back to, stayed in Innsbruck during the week, I believe. And climbs again. Next to her, Jessie Pilz. That's how it stands right now. You can see Lucia Dorfel firing up into first place. Now 4 climbers with 4 tops. So 3 tops almost certainly not going to be enough unless something goes really wrong for some of the best climbers in the world.
Yeah, which is unlikely to happen in my opinion. We can see Jessie on her first attempt on boulder number 2, already aiming for the top hold, and there it goes. Yeah, she needed quite some attempts on the slab, and there's Petra on her first boulder.
Yeah, Jessie required 5 attempts on boulder 1. That could come back to be a problem for her. That's the most attempts of anyone who topped it.
And Petra looks very solid on boulder number 1.
She's going to trust that left foot.
Nice job.
Well, that left foot looked useless the first few people who tried to use it, and suddenly it looks okay. Maybe it's rubbered in, I don't know.
Of course, she knows how to handle pressure. She's our world champion from 2016 from Paris. Yeah, experience comes in handy sometimes, because you've lived through different situations. It's Jessie, another very experienced climber. No problem on boulder number 2.
It's Franzi Sterre not quite finding a way.
Yeah, and as for everyone, Franzi also needs a top on boulder number 4. She needs to complete all 4 boulders to advance to finals, just like Andrea Kümin on her right-hand side on boulder number 3. Andrea has already climbed in 5 World Cup semifinals, so she's used to climbing in semis. She placed 10th at the Bouldering World Cup in Meiringen in 2017 and 10th at the European Championship in Munich. Of course, today she wants a top spot.
Just a little short on that move up to the left. Franziska Sterre needs this one for sure. In fact, every climber needs every boulder if they want to make it to the final. You're not going to get there, I don't think, without 4 tops. Only 2 climbers left on the mats. We are now done with boulder number 1. And all apart from 3 climbers got number 1 done. Crucially, I mentioned it a second ago, Jessie Pilz needed 5 attempts, that's more than anyone else. See Franziska Sterre in the background, just heading up to the zone, chooses the bump method. End of a long round, just looking a little bit short of power. Ditto Andrea Kümin on that move.
Yeah, too bad for these 2, because they will really need a top in their boulders to advance to finals. It would get extremely close. No, because there's Jessie, Petra and Johanna coming up. So it's very unlikely to advance to finals without 4 boulders. If they,
but there's 6 climbers who haven't finished their rotation, so
yeah.
Sadly, I think that's probably it for both of those climbers.
Yeah, and that's of course disappointing, as both Franzi and Andrea were looking for spots in this finals. There's another rotation now. As you said, we're done with boulder number 1, and we can focus on number 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, Johanna Faber now closest to the camera. It's all Austria on the stage right now. Lea Kempf on number 3 and Mattea Puzzi over there on number 4. Mattea Puzzi, an opportunity to also get a 4th top.
And it would be important for her because she had a lot of attempts on boulder number 2. So she definitely needs a top here. And Johanna was cruising through boulder number 1. She looked in competition mode. Let's see if she can do that again on boulder number 2. Come on, Johanna. Tries the slow version, but then does the fast approach like everyone else except Julie Fischer. Come on, yo, go for it. Yep, there is top number 2.
Top number 2 for Johanna. Was that first attempt, do we think?
Yep,
so that's
first
2
try.
flashes.
On fire.
Take a look at that, no problem at all.
She was hesitating for a second for the last move because of course she knows that climbers are climbing these boulders fast and she does not want to waste any attempts. So far she didn't. Mattea Puzzi on boulder number 4. She lives in Innsbruck. She moved to Innsbruck after high school, grew up in Corinthia and studies maths at the University of Innsbruck. Oh.
Maths, did you say?
Yep.
Oh.
Not your subject, Charlie?
Oh dear.
Mine neither. And Lea is having a hard time in this starting position. With 2 minutes, 20 seconds left on the clock, she'd better find a solution fast. Come on, Lea.
Yeah, I think we can safely say if you don't climb a boulder, then you won't make it to the final. So everyone comes laden with pressure. This time she gets herself safely up to the zone. These are such barely powerful moves, though.
Yeah, now she can show us her forearms, crimp power. Come on, Lea. You can do it. Just forget about it. Jump to the top. Yes, that's it.
It was like she was listening to you. Just forget it, go.
I hope so. And now Mattea.
Yeah, she's gunning for a second final in 2 weeks in this Austrian Climbing Summer Series, and she's just short.
Bah, you gotta commit to these last moves on boulder number 3, just like Lea did. And then also on boulder number 4. You can't really have a moment of hesitation when it comes to these 2 top moves.
1:15 left for Mattea Puzzi.
Mattea is of course the only climber left on the mats, which is a tough situation because she knows that she needs this top if she wants to advance to finals. That's definitely easier if you're at the beginning of the field without these high expectations, but then again these climbers are world-class athletes. They know they can deal with pressure, and we know that Mattea can top this boulder. Come on!
Comes up just short and is not going to have time for another go. It will not be 2 finals in 2 weeks for her. could end up with a top 10 finish, but I doubt that is much consolation. Andrea Kumin out next onto boulder 4, but she missed number 3, and that almost certainly means that she's not able to make the final. It's possible, but it's highly unlikely.
Yeah, there are 3 climbers. Andrea sadly didn't do boulder number 3. She's on the very left-hand side of your screen. Then we have Jessie Pilz on boulder number 3 and Petra Klingler on boulder number 2. Andrea won't have a chance to climb in finals tonight, but Jessie and Petra are still looking strong and aiming for a spot in finals. Petra takes a step back and looks at the boulder once more before she gives it her first go.
So here's Andrea climbing for pride more than a result here.
Come on, Andrea.
Petra's underway on number 2, by the way. Give it a good brush. I think she's clever enough to know that attempts are going to be really important here.
Yeah,
so not wasting any.
That just puts extra pressure on her. She's even using her chalk bag now, thinking about the moves. Come on, Petra.
Looking very solid. This could be 2 flashes on the first 2 boulders for Petra.
Come on, Petra. Left or right? Right hand. Wow. Nice one. Most climbers chose left hand, but Petra's strong enough to do it with the right. And Jessie Pilz is aiming for the top on boulder number 3.
Oh, easy for Jessie Pilz. Was that first attempt, second attempt? We'll see when the scores come through, but I wonder if that 5 attempts on number 1 could actually be a big problem for Jessie.
Yeah, hopefully not. But yeah, she definitely needed a lot of attempts. Petra just flashed boulder number 2, just like Johanna. Johanna Felber and Petra Klingler looking extremely strong as of now. Yeah, they are dealing well with this kind of pressure. And Andrea is struggling with this move where a lot of women already struggled before her. This is an extremely tough and powerful boulder.
Yeah, she's the only climber on stage. Got just over 2 minutes left. I'm sure would like to walk away with the top, but after such a good performance in the qualifiers yesterday, 5 tops there, just not gone her way in the semi-final, and really all down to 1 boulder, that 3rd one. Flash boulder 1, got boulder 2 on a 3rd attempt, but just couldn't find the top on number 3.
Yeah, she missed out on the Austrian Climbing Summer Series last week, so this is her first time here in Innsbruck this year. Of course, her very first time was back in 2013 when she started her first World Cup. Oh, I'm sure David Firnenburg, her boyfriend, is watching right now and just as nervous as we are, or maybe a little bit more nervous. Yeah, too bad that it was not enough for Andrea this time. Couldn't show her full potential. But anyway, we want to see a top on boulder number 4 from Andrea.
She goes, she's safely onto the zone.
Yeah, come on.
1 more move to go. She's got the right foot high. Can't quite stay there. It's such an awkward position trying to twist into the wall.
Yeah, there's nothing to help. You really have to do it all out of your right hand biceps. You can't really have anything else. That's it for Andrea. Very good performance in qualification. Didn't quite go her way in today's semi-finals.
Yeah, still managed to smile, but a disappointing day for her. 2 tops, 4 required almost certainly to make the final.
Yeah, as of now, Dove Lucia is leading the field. 4 tops with 7 attempts. Eva Maria Hammelmüller, last week's silver medalist, qualified as well. As did Julia Fischer and Sandra Lettner so far. Of course, Johanna Färber, Lea Kempf and Petra Klingler are yet to come. So someone with 4 tops might not be in finals today.
Yeah, Lea Kempf is now out on number 4. And there's Johanna Färber, winner from last time out.
Johanna looked solid on the first 2 boulders. Can she flash number 3 as well?
We mentioned it last time, she's already been in a World Cup final. She's about as high a level as you can get to.
Yeah. Managed a 5th place in Taiwan in 2018 and placed 8th at the Bouldering European Championship in Zakopane last year.
Looking very strong so far here as well. This would be for a 3rd flash, I believe.
Yeah, I sure hope so. Come on, yo, go for it.
Wow, Johanna
that's
Färber.
it.
That was not a one-off last week. She's backing it up this time.
Yeah, she's really proving that she's one of the favorites here. Last year was not a was no surprise. This lady is consistent. And now all our focus is on Lea Kempf. 15 years young. I have to repeat myself. She's only 15 years old. And she's already climbing extremely strong, both in and outside. Not sure if she has enough power to do this super powerful boulder, but I sure hope so. Wow, she's looking extremely solid. Come on. But her foot popped, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, but I believe she can do it now. She has 2 minutes 40 on the clock if her foot doesn't pop on the last move. I believe she can top boulder number 4.
We've got a couple of questions actually come through from the live stream.
What are the questions?
Check we've not got any climbing action before I ask. A quick one. A question, Mike from Austria. You know Mike, right? Good old Mike. Mike from Austria. You're from Austria, you know everyone in Austria. You know Mike.
Of course, I know
So
every
everyone knew
Mike from Austria.
Yeah.
Not too many Mikes out there.
Who of the climbers today are the best outdoor climbers in your opinion? Well, keep an eye on Lea Kempf. Have a think about it while she attempts this boulder.
Yeah, I will. Before we answer that question, we will watch Lea Kempf hopefully topping boulder number 4. And come on, Lea, go for it. Ah.
Just short, clobbers her brush on the way down for good measure.
That's too bad. I mean, when it comes to outdoor climbing, of course, a lot of these women climb lots outside, and I am not aware of all their different achievements. So if I forget anyone, then I am apologizing right now. But I know that, of course, Jessie Pilz climbs outside, climbs out 8C outside, and can definitely climb more than that. Also, Eva Maria Hammelmüller climbs a lot outside, already climbed 8C as well. Fischer Julie climbed 8C, all sport routes, obviously. Johanna Färber boulders a lot outside. Petra boulders a lot outside. And then, yeah, so all these athletes are very strong outdoor climbers. Just like Lea Kempf, who is trying to climb boulder number 4. Come on now.
Oh, she gets it done this time.
Nice one from Lea Kempf.
There it is, 4 tops for her.
Nice job.
Things are getting very tight at the top.
Although she used a lot of attempts, and I'm not 100% sure whether that will be enough.
I think the scores are a bit slow coming through at our end as well.
She climbed 4 boulders, but used a lot of attempts.
Yeah, I think that could leave her below Julia Fischer.
Oh, that
Petra Klingler now back out onto number 3. Jessie Pilz on number 4, the 2 world champions next to each other.
Yeah, and I'd be surprised if you wouldn't see fast tops now from both Jessie and Petra on boulder number 4 and 3. Petra flashed number 1 and 2. She could flash number 3 as well, just like Johanna Färber right before her. Close battle between these two so far. Close battle between Petra and Johanna so far. Both these climbers climbed 5 problems in qualification.
Now our scores seem to be coming through. Now we've got some up-to-date information. Not quite. We're still waiting on Lea Kempf.
Yeah, but Lea already used 11 tries for 3 boulders, and she used at least 4, I would say. That would leave her with 15 tries for 4 boulders.
Petra Klingler, meanwhile, has flashed both of the first 2 boulders. Could she make it 3 from 3? Only Johanna Färber has managed that so far. And as you say, it's a very close battle between those 2 right now. Petra looking pretty unfussed by anything right now.
Gives a quick smile to the camera.
I was about to say, even knew where the crane camera was. There's Jessie Pilz. Now then, Jessie also got 4 tops. Could be made to regret taking a long time on that first slab. 5 attempts required there. Another question that's been passed on to me, by the way. I can't actually see the questions myself, so if you, but there is someone picking them up and sending them over to me. A question from Eddie, the IFSC photographer, actually. Eddie just sent me a message, man. He says, do you prefer commentating on a hard set or a flash round?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I quite like a flash round, actually. There's lots happening.
That's true. I mean, a hard set's always difficult to commentate, I guess.
Yeah, I think as a spectator, you maybe enjoy the harder ones more, but as a commentator, when you've got to keep saying something, even when nothing's happening, they can feel a bit tough. So yeah, probably take a round like this. We certainly have had plenty of tops this time out. Yeah, I'll take a flash round personally, selfishly. Anything for an easy life, you know. So quick 2-minute break, just to take stock.
Yeah, and there are our scores.
Yeah, the scores are coming through. So already, where the top 6 have 4 tops, and everyone below has less. Excuse me.
And of course, Petra Klingler is not in there yet, so it seems as if Lea Kempf, youngster Lea Kempf, could be just short of finals.
Yeah, and Johanna Färber's not in there either.
That's right, so even Julie Fischer won't be in finals either.
Jessie Pilz will make it through though. I mentioned how she needed a lot of attempts on boulder 1, but fortunately for her, she was very quickly through the remaining 3 boulders. 1 attempt on boulder 2, 2 attempts on boulder 3, and 1 attempt on boulder 4. So she salvaged a round after a bit of a slow start on number 1.
Yeah,
so yeah, Julia Fischer and Lea Kempf nervously watching on, currently with 4 tops.
So it's very likely that we'll have Lucia Dörfel, Eva Maria Hammelmüller, Jessie Pilz, Sandra Lettner, Johanna Färber and Petra Klingler in finals.
It's looking that way. Certainly the first 4 of those climbers are now guaranteed their place in the final.
Yes, of course, Johanna and Petra still have to complete boulder number 4.
Might be easier said than done. But it's been seeing a bit of traffic now. It's 6 climbers. A bit like on the men's one, actually, with boulder 1, the 6 climbers who are currently in the final, in inverted commas, are the 6 climbers who topped boulder 4.
Yep. And probably we'll have 8 climbers with 4 boulders after the semi-final round. And of course, Petra and Johanna, who are in the transit zone right now, know very well that they have to top the last boulder.
Just looking how many attempts they've got to spare. Both of them have flashed everything. So they need to do this one.
I think they won't have enough time to have as many attempts.
No, I think if they get it done, they'll be in the finals.
Yeah, I would
Julia
believe so.
Fieser's currently in 5th place. She needed 10 attempts to get them done. So in theory, Johanna and/or Petra has a maximum of 7 attempts. But I'd be pretty impressed if you could have 7 attempts at this boulder in 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's easier on a slab or on a jump. You can use a lot of attempts on these kinds of boulders, but on such a powerful and straightforward boulder like the last one that Johanna is rushing right now, I would say that 4 good attempts are the maximum. If you don't fall off the first move a couple times, then
so
I would say.
Ferber is now inspecting the boulder, giving it a good brush. You can see 45 seconds elapsed. She hasn't actually left the ground yet, which I think is quite sensible. Probably knows full well that she can climb it, especially in the form she's in now.
Yep.
So take your time.
Usually climbers take around 40 seconds to 1 minute to take a look at the boulder.
Get it right the first time.
Can she be the first one to flash 4 boulders? I fully trust that she has it in her.
She looks so solid in her movement.
She looks completely in the zone. Come on, Yo. Yo is her nickname. Her full name's Johanna. And now she just has to go for it. Come on. Yeah.
4 boulders, 4 flashes. Interestingly as well, her and Petra were tied in the qualifier as well. They got exactly the same score. They flashed 4 of the boulders and they both took 3 attempts to do the 3rd boulder in the qualifier.
Wow.
Johanna Ferber pulling ahead right now in the semi-final with 4 flashes.
And of course, this can be important when it comes to the final round, because if Petra and Johanna, they had the same score in qualification, they might have the same score in semifinals. So these two are definitely the big favorites for tonight's final.
I'm trying to think of if I can ever remember 2 climbers being tied throughout a boulder competition.
Yes, actually 2009 at the Bouldering World Cup in Hull, Akio and I climbed a super final, and we both finished 1st place.
Ah.
But that's a long time ago.
Yeah, just down the road in Hallen, Tyrol. Yes,
Exactly, in Hull. That was the first time that a super final took place in the Bouldering World Cup. And there was a 2nd super final, if you remember, at the European Championship in bouldering between Stasha and Janja, where Stasha actually won the European Championship in the end, and Janja placed 2nd.
Yeah.
And the only, in 2009 at the Bouldering World Cup in Hull, Akio and I both won the event by flashing the super final as well. Maybe we'll see a super final tonight, who knows?
Who knows, yeah, well, she's just got a little bit of work to do, Petra. By the way, that score that you're looking at now, not up to date, of course, because we've just seen Johanna Ferber find a 4th flash. So she, although marked down in 12th, joint 12th, will now be up in 1st, potentially to be joined by Petra Klingler. I'm not actually sure what determined who starts first, actually, because they were tied in the qualifiers.
Usually the world ranking does.
Yeah.
So Petra would be ahead of Johanna. I think that's why she started later.
Well, before tonight's final, I'm definitely doing some research on what if happened. What if? Because there's nothing to separate them so far. Assuming, of course, that Petra can flash this.
She definitely can. Of course, she knows that Johanna made quick work of the boulder. But then Petra is such an experienced climber. I mean, she's 28 years old. She's the oldest and most experienced. She has climbed in the most World Cups and has already won one Bouldering World Cup in Haiyang in 2015.
By the way, if you I'm watching at home and just wondering why Petra can't come out. Remember, this is a semi-final, so we have 5-minute rotations. You get 5 minutes on, 5 minutes off, whether you want or need them. It's a fixed time. Petra probably doesn't need the rest. She's barely been on the wall at all. Only been out long enough to flash 3 boulders, but now she's out onto number 4. And I'm sure well aware that seemingly her biggest rival this week has flashed this boulder 4. So what she'll do is give it a good clean, make sure she's happy with what method she's planning to use. Of course, you might have to change your mind mid-boulder. So with just under a minute of her time elapsed, Petra gets underway. Could be a lot riding on this if they were to tie in the final. This could be huge.
Yeah, first of all, Petra has to flash this boulder, just like you did a couple of minutes before. Come on, Petra. She is a world champion. She knows what to do out there.
And like Johanna Faber, looking incredibly strong on this. And lining it up potentially for the flash. Needs that right foot to stay in place. It does. It is a perfect round for Petra Klingler. Her and Johanna Faber done exactly the same on every boulder, all 9 in the qualifiers and the semi-finals. In the qualifiers, they flashed 4 boulders and needed 3 attempts on the 3rd boulder. Here in the semi-final, they flashed all 4. That means 2 climbers with 4 tops.
Yeah, very good
did
job.
not make it through to the final.
So this means we have Petra Klingler, Johanna Faber, Dorf Lucia, Eva Maria Hammelmüller, Pilz Jessica and Sandra Lettner in tonight's finals.
Yes, and spare a thought for Julia Fischer and Leah Kempf, who both got 4 tops and it wasn't enough. But there you can see it, tied in first place, as they were in the qualifiers, Johanna Faber and Petra Klingler, Lucia Dorfel, Eva Maria Hammelmüller, Jessie Pilz and Sandra Lettner. That is a big hitting final. Can they be separated this evening? Can somebody else storm in?
Be sure to find out in tonight's final.
Yes.
We'll start the live session back on Epic TV.
8:15.
Thank you. 8:15 for the women's finals.
Yeah, we're back. Got a lot more action for you today. Our YouTube live stream starts at 5 p.m. local time for the men. That is just over an hour and a half. And then we'll be back at 8 with the women's final. And that's how they'll line up. Johanna Faber, Petra Klingler, Lucia Dorfel, Eva Maria Hammelmüller, Jessie Pilz and Sandra Lettner. So by the standards of international semi-finals, an easy round of boulders. But an excellent show nonetheless, and no doubt who the 2 strongest climbers was. It was Johanna Faber and Petra Klingler. 4 flashes, it gets no better than that. And I'm just looking down the front. The first thing you always think is, are there any appeals? Is anything going to change? Doesn't seem like there's too much going on down there. And that is all from Anna and I. And we'll speak to you in 1 hour and 50 minutes with the men's final. Look forward to seeing you then, 5 p.m. Innsbruck time.
See you soon.